everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rebuilding the Cutlass. In this episode, we're going to be repairing that right front fender and also repainting it. So let's go ahead and get to it. So in the first episode of Rebuilding the Cutlass this year, I mentioned in the right front of the car, the passenger side, the fender was damaged. So I have a video from when I first picked up the Cutlass of what it looked like. We'll go ahead and show that right now. Let's do the walk around here. So here's the right front fender that the lady that I bought it from, she said she went to the ditch, hit a small tree. So since we had that damaged fender, we want to go ahead and fix that. And I did last year go out and get a new fender from a guy I met on Facebook. He had a fender, he had the front grille, he had a couple other pieces for the headlights, and I started collecting parts. And now that I have all the parts collected, we're going to go ahead and start putting them on the Cutlass this year. So the first thing we want to do is just go ahead and just back out the Cutlass. We'll go ahead and get that fender out and see what we want to do with it. I think it's a pretty good fender. There might be a little bit of rust underneath the paint, but I think it's in pretty good shape for what it is. I got a really good deal on it. I think I spent 150 bucks on the fender, which you really can't find that. Also, it is not a re-stamped fender. It is actually a original Cutlass fender. So the fact that it is original is nice. So we're going to go ahead and just back out the Cutlass. We'll take a look at that and get going. So under here, underneath all this mess, disregard this good-looking LS engine right next to this fender, is my 1970 Oldsmobile fender. So I've been kind of storing this over the winter, just waiting to actually put this on. So let's go ahead and unbury this and get it out. So this is the fender we picked up for $100. And you see it was primered. I don't know what they were intending on doing with it, but at least they did primer it so that way it stopped rusting. The bottom looks really good actually. I thought it had a little more pitting and stuff like that, but it does look really good all the way throughout here. On the front side, I do have that chrome trim piece, which is nice because I think mine's all busted or banged up. And then I don't know if this light marker's in here. Oh, the light marker is in there. That's awesome because mine's all destroyed. There's where I saw the holes or the little bit of issue. So looks like we might need to try to fill that really quick. But otherwise than that, everything looks really, really good on it. Now on this side, we can see that there is a little bit more rust than what it looked like. You can see where they actually filled it with a little bit of Bondo and things like that. We might just do the same today because I don't know if I'm going to get out the welder or not. But they also filled in the holes for the emblems with a little bit of Bondo. But overall, this side looks pretty good. And it looks like the car was painted like a magenta or like a pinkish color. And then there's probably the original color of this fender. So it's been painted a couple times. And we have a bracket down here. Also, like I mentioned, a little bit of rust through those pinholes on the bottom there. So now with the overview of the fender done, let's go ahead and start by taking out the side marker and the chrome trim and any other accessories that we'll need to take off to start sanding this down and getting it prepped for paint. Alright, now that the fender is disassembled as far as I need it to be, we can go ahead and start sanding it down, see what lies beneath. All right, so I went ahead and sanded almost everything down on the front side, but I mean, you can see how much there is that's actually rotting here. So, and then we drilled out the holes there for the emblems, and then over here, you can see the hole and how much it's rusted. So I did clean off a lot of it here, and I still do have, I have it all cleaned off on the front side here. So I'm just gonna take Bondo, some body filler, and we're just going to mix it up and fill it in. So let's go ahead and get the body filler out and get it all going. So while that stuff dries, I just want to give a quick reminder that we're not going for perfect on this or anything. That's the reason I'm just doing Bondo. If I was going for perfect, I'd probably weld that in, or off the new fender, or on the new fender, I'd probably take the a patch panel off of my old fender, because my old fender actually looked really good in that area, which I'll probably do in the in solution. But for now, we're just trying to get it back to a better state than what the current fender is on the car, which is all bent in, kind of smashed in. So while it's drying, we're just gonna go ahead and just let it sit, and then we'll come back and we'll sand it all down, and we might have to lay down another thing of body filler on it. But yeah, so let's go take a look, see how it's doing. All right, looks like it's all nice and hard now, so let's go ahead and start sanding it and try to get it nice and smooth. Alright, so we went ahead and sanded down everything on the fender that I think we need to for this portion of repainting it. So everything's looking really good, and next we're going to go ahead and just kind of wet sand it, get down everything off of it, and then we'll prep it with some paint thinner or wax and grease remover, and then we will go ahead and paint the fender. So let's go ahead and clean it up. Now that we have everything sanded down and wet sanded and cleaned off, we're going to go ahead and hit all the bare areas with some paint, just to make sure it doesn't rust and anything like that. So we're just using black. This is actually rust tough enamel. It eliminates rust. So hopefully it'll save some of these rusty areas for when I want to actually do it the correct way and sand everything all down again and make it perfect. So this is just for temporary. We're just using the plastic dip again, and we'll make this look like the rest of the car. So let's go ahead and start doing this. And there we go. We have the whole entire fender sealed in a enamel rust protecting paint, and it's looking really good. So we're just gonna go ahead and let that dry overnight. That's about all I want to do today. And in the morning we'll break out the plastic dip and we will go ahead and paint this the rest of the way. But this is looking really good for right now, and I'll see you guys in the morning. All right, it's the next day here, and we got the fender all laid out. It actually turned out really nice, just with that quick enamel coat. Just something to coat it for the first place, and then today what we're going to be doing is laying down the plastic dip. So this is the plastic dip that I have. I bought this a couple years ago when I actually did the car completely, but obviously got a fender now, have some extra plastic dip, and we're going to go ahead and lay that down on the fender. It goes down really, really easily. I actually just use a cheap Harbor Freight gun for this. These guns actually lay down quite well on this thicker like plastic dip material. But I already got everything all prepped, ready to go. So I think all we have to do now is just go ahead and shoot it. It's, like I said, very, very straightforward. It's way more forgiving than actual real paint because it comes out like with a little bit of a texturized look. It's pretty rugged. Actually, let me go ahead and show you what it looks like. I painted a fender just for fun, and I have one in the corner here, so let me go and grab that. So this is a Grand Am fender I got for one of my project cars that I was flipping, and you can see here I sprayed it, got a really nice texturized look onto it. It's pretty durable. But what's nice about plastic dip is you can actually peel it off, right? So you obviously know you probably get the plastic dip in the cans, but you can also get it in the gallon of buckets. So that way you can actually do your whole car. And yeah, this stuff comes off pretty darn easily. It comes off easier the more layers you put on. This is only like maybe 2 layers at most. That's the reason you're seeing it a little bit difficult to come off. But if it had more layers on it, like the actual Cutlass does, it would come off pretty easily. And I'm gonna lay about 4 to 8, probably 4, 6, or 8 layers on this fender here when I go do it, the actual one for the Cutlass. But yeah, this is what it looks like. This is just a primer underneath, and then yeah, that's the plastic dip right there. So like I said, very durable. I like this stuff a lot, and does just fine for a temporary paint job. So I got the plastic dip, I got the spray gun. Let's shake it up, pour it in, and spray it on. All right, now that it's all painted with mini coats, we can just go ahead and let it sit in the sun and bake. It will smooth out that plastic dip quite a bit too as it dries. So it's gonna be looking really, really good, and it will match the rest of the car. So let's just let it dry and come back to it later. Well guys, it's been baking out in the sun for at least like 2-3 hours now, and it is looking great. So we're gonna go ahead and call this episode a wrap. In the next episode, we're going to go ahead and take off that fender, and we're going to install the new one. We'll put on the front chrome, the rear chrome piece, the emblem, a couple other small things, and then we'll also be doing the front grille and headlight bezel as well. So make sure to click like on the video, subscribe to my channel, so that way you get notifications of when I'm going to post the next episode. And yeah, drop me a comment if you would like. But till next time, see ya.